Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Dinger Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're talking all things Major League Baseball this morning. We hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. We hope everybody came back from July 4th with a little bit more perspective and all of their fingers. And Dan Harris, there were certainly some bombs to talk about, that's for sure, in Major League Baseball. We've had some injuries over the weekend and some home runs as well that are very significant. And Dan Harris, I just want to check in with you because you and I also both suffered from our children being sick and giving it to us. Happy 5th of July. Welcome to parenthood.
Yeah, seriously. To you as well. Yeah, we were talking before we started recording that all of our children have just kind of had this cold that just gets passed around. So I don't know where you are. I feel like I'm at like 68% health right now. That's enough to get through the podcast. But for the most part, yeah, wasn't exactly the wild July 4th weekend that perhaps we usually have, especially since it rained nonstop throughout. So I'm ready to go.
We got lucky. We got a very nice break in the weather yesterday. Good friend of mine came over with his kids who are mostly teenagers now, and I was like, screw it, I don't feel good, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna grill it away. I think the dry air from the barbecue might have helped a little bit, and perhaps the cigar and whiskey at the end of the night poolside might also done the sometimes you just gotta say it's America's birthday, I'm going to have a whiskey. I don't care if I'm sick. And there you go. That's what you do. Yep. And of course, we get back here and we're ready to talk to you guys. I see everybody's very excited. And you should be excited for the show today, too, because Dan Harris has reviews. What we don't have is a winner. So I'm going to do this again. Check your spam. We email the winner of the contest every single time, right? And we wait for days and days and weeks. We're already in the 5th now of July. Please check your spam. You might be the winner if you listen to the show. And if not, we're just going to have to pass it off to somebody else, an Ohtani autographed baseball. But alas, let's get into the ups and downs because certainly there was a lot going on in baseball to break down. Let's start with Ohtani making history again. I'd love to start. Oh, what am I kidding? I wouldn't love to start a show with anybody else but Ohtani. I have to every single time. Ohtani becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history to be voted into the All-Star game as a hitter and a pitcher. That is incredible. Oh, and he also now has 31 home runs. When last we left you, he's got even more. Pete Alonso homered twice for me yesterday. And guess who else got a home run? Anthony Rendon. So our perpetuity dingers for the weekend did okay. Dan Harris, very nice. We'll check the leaderboard later in the show to see where everybody shows up. And of course, Manny Machado crushing a pair of home runs. So a big day for him. Good day for the Padres. So also in that Mets game too, another Garrett Cole struggle, which I think is probably the real thing. It didn't make the downs. Yeah. It was struggle. It wasn't, oh my God, the wheels are coming off. But Dan, what did you think about, where we're at now with Garrett Cole? Do you think it's mental, physical, bit of both?
Probably a bit of both. There's no doubt that you've seen it in his performance. We pretty much know exactly when it was, when he started probably really using the sticky stuff a little bit more in his career. And it had a significant impact on his performance. That doesn't take away from the fact that he's an immense talent. He's an elite pitcher. He's going to continue to be an elite pitcher. But for now, it's pretty clear that not only is it affecting his performance physically, but you can tell these guys who are all talking about it and working to try to find it. He also had that embarrassing answer when he first started. Like, I'm sure it's on the forefront of his mind. I'm not dropping Cole significantly in my rest of season rankings. I'm just not, because I'm not all that confident in that many pitchers anyway. So for me, though, again, I'm going to maintain the same line that I've said the entire time, which is Cole is no longer my number 2 pitcher. He drops a little bit in my rest of season rankings in the trade value chart, but not out of my top 5 right now, because I think he'll be 5. Chapman also, I don't know what the deal is with Chapman, if it's the sticky stuff as well, whatever it is.
Do you mean all-star Aroldis Chapman?
I do mean all-star Aroldis Chapman. I mean, whatever he had in his first 23 games, what he's done lately, it's really, he may lose his job, Joe, at least for a short term, like you mentioned, right? I mean, it's possible at this point. I don't know, go out and pick up Chad Green, I guess. I assume that he'll get the next save chance, but still, something's going on over there. And that team, as we talk about often, is right now a pretty big disaster.
Yeah, and we talked about this stretch being very important, and so far it is not going their way. And in case you're wondering why Dan's video is a little fuzzy, it's a It's a
Is
reflection
it?
of how he feels. It is. It's a little
Oh, see,
fuzzy.
mine doesn't. Mine doesn't look fuzzy to me, but I'm
Well,
sure
it looks fuzzy on my end, but I just figured that's because you're
it's
68%. I
probably
figured you're still
it's
uploading
probably.
this morning. And also, it seems like a lot of people in the chat say you're the tough guy of the week, and we should recognize you for doing the show today as ill as you are. I'm in the mid to high 70s. Dan is definitely worse than me today. I was terrible Friday and Saturday. Ugh, terrible.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one before you even get to the downs. Hey, Joe and Dan, would you guys trade Luis Castillo or Lance Lynn for Muncy or Arenado? Looking for some third base help. Now, obviously, we need kind of context here. I don't like to trade any pitching right now because the state of pitching is miserable, which you'll see tonight in the MLB DFS slate. But if I was going to make a deal, look, both of these guys, Muncy and Arenado, very solid hitters in terms of offense. You always got to figure Arenado's going to hit for a better average most of the time, even out of Colorado, than Muncy for the most part. But I don't know. I have a hard time trading pitching right now. Unless your offense is really terrible and your pitching's really deep. I struggle with this, Dan. How about you?
Yeah, I think in a vacuum it's probably pretty fair. I have no issue with it, but I agree with you that as a general matter, to give up a guy who's probably an SP2, Lynn probably more like an SP1, really difficult to do. But if you have a ton of depth and you feel comfortable with it, I think in a vacuum that's pretty fair. I think I'd rather have Arenado just if you only need a third baseman. If you need the position flexibility, Muncy is fine too. But I'd probably do either. If you have to do, am I still blurry? It's very obnoxious. Can I tell you what I?
What's funny is that Aaron says Dan looks like he has an iPhone 1. That's
what I looked at it. What I will tell you what I believe it is, even though I'm plugged in with my Ethernet cord, it's July 5th. It is when America is sort of celebrating July 4th as the holiday for the extent you work, which includes the children's camp. And at 9:30, that's still prime iPad time. So my guess is they are just using up all the bandwidth. I don't know. I'm plugged in. Am I still blurry? Everybody
get a brother get a bandwidth, please. Get a brother get some bandwidth. All right, let's do the downs here. Padres number 2 prospect CJ Abrams out for the year. Terrible collision there at second base, and that's sad because number one, you don't see everybody get hurt, but also, I don't know if Abrams was the guy they were looking at maybe contributing down the stretch in some fashion, or if this was a chip that they could move. I don't know how much it hurts his overall stock, but certainly it's something that, you don't like any sort of major injuries to legs like that for players. Speaking of major injuries, Kyle Schwarber's going to miss time with a hamstring strain. This is not good. I mean, this stinks because this was a really great situation here where this player was having an incredible run. And now, of course, he's hurt. He's going to be out for, I don't know, I'm guessing a month. Whenever it comes to a hamstring, I'm always just like, it's going to be a month. And God, just keep your fingers crossed that he doesn't re-injure it. But you missed the window to move on from Schwarber if you hadn't already. So now you just got to sit there and, hopefully in season-long roto, he gave you a month in June that it covered the terrible April and May and missing most of July. Right. And honestly, he might have. It might not be hyperbole to say that. And then MLB saying that it hopes to talk to the woman in the Trevor Bauer case, so that continues to move forward. I saw the text leaks out there too. Those were very interesting to read. Boy, oh boy, what a tough situation that is. But let's get to the baseball part, which is Schwarber. So, I mean, at this point too, this is kind of difficult as Dan clears up, as the medicine kicks in for him.
Is it clearing up?
Oh, it's perfect now.
Oh, I love it.
Now it's just your face that I struggle with.
Oh, I'm very sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. I'll go back to being blurry. My bad. But
Schwarber, I mean, did he do enough here for you to kind of, I don't know, soldier through the ups and downs of what's been his 2021 season?
Yeah, sure. My worry is, though, Joe, that this is going to be more than a month. It sounds bad. It really, like when you listen to him talk and when you heard them sort of talk about it. Look, when you have like a light maybe not a grade 1, but when you have a regular hamstring, I'm always like, well, soft tissue injury. You and I always talk about that. I'm going to give it 3 weeks. That's what I'm going to feel like. Fine. When you come out of it initially and you're like, this is significant. I mean, think about Trout. He had a calf, obviously, but he's been, gone for 2 months. You have guys
Calves
like this.
Are tricky.
Right.
I proved that with a couple years ago.
If I roster Schwarber number 1, I'm really expecting to be without him for closer to 2 months. Personally, I just always add, I fade injuries, which I can. In terms of his performance, yeah, it's really hard to deny it. I'm not ready to sort of, we talked about where we were moving him. I still had him as probably my 20 in my low 20s for outfielders rest of season. I wasn't bumping him up to like top 15 or anything like that. I think we were probably going to see him cool down. But as a whole, look, it's a guy who got in shape, who was playing in his walk year. Obviously, he took the pillow deal. So I think he'll probably be a solid player when he comes back. I'm just not expecting that to be for a couple of months.
All right, let's play some fun ERA games for you. This is a fun little stat that I saw this morning, and I thought I'd bring it over to the shows. What I do, I see the stat nuggets, and I bring the nuggets over here, and we have the dipping sauce. So let's get to it. By the way, dipping sauce of choice with nuggets, Dan.
Oh boy. All right. I'm gonna go with.
Say it. Go ahead.
Well, it depends.
Don't judge. No, don't let anybody judge you. Everybody has a nugget sauce. What's your nugget sauce?
No, it's fine. I will go with, as a whole, barbecue sauce.
Okay, I'm a sweet and sour sauce guy.
So I'm a sweet and sour sauce. This is what's
See,
terrible.
I knew you wanted to say that, and you were like, I don't want people to judge me. I don't. This is a safe
I'm not
place.
even joking. This is the most ridiculous conversation ever. I'm not even joking though. When I have McDonald's, which is incredibly rare at this point, it's basically on like the long trip with the kids where you got to stop off at something.
Or it's that day where you're like, I'm not cooking. There's no food in the house. Kids were going to McDonald's.
And you need it, right? Mm-hmm. Then I will go, if I get nuggets, which I do, frankly, from McDonald's, always sweet and sour. Always sweet and sour. All right. But that's the only nuggets that I go to that I have sweet and sour, because everybody else always like, do barbecue, and I like barbecue as well. But McDonald's, sweet and sour, everything else, barbecue, done. Sorry.
All right, good answer. All right, now time for the ERA discussion, which is secondary to the nugget sauce. DeGrom has the lowest ERA at home. Duh, of course, 1.53. Lance Lynn, also right there. Wrong Peralta. Freddie Peralta, 1.72. Although Willie Peralta's on the slate tonight. That's why he was on the line.
All right.
Zach Wheeler, 1.82. Want to take a guess on who might be number 5? I'll give you a hint. Once upon a time, he pitched for the Mets. And I've already given you Zach Wheeler, so it's not him. He has a 1.99 ERA at home this year. He is now pitching in the American League West, and he's a former New York Met.
Why am I trying I've got nothing.
Chris Flexen, 1.99
no way.
home ERA this year. Isn't that a fun little nugget?
Yeah.
That's delicious. That's the Szechuan sauce.
He had a great start this weekend. I mean, I would have given 20 minutes. I would never have gotten that.
I know. I was trying to give a couple hints. And also playing the games out there. Also, This is an amazing one too. DeGrom's path to ERA history. So far in 14 appearances, he's got a 0.95 ERA. We don't know what he's going to finish with, but these were some other ERAs that were in that realm. And again, it's like a full run, almost higher. Dwight Gooden in 1985, 1.79. He finished with a 1.53 ERA. Bob Gibson, 1.30 in 1968. He finished with a 1.12 ERA, so he was even better down the stretch. People forget how dominant Dwight Gooden was.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid growing up in New York, Dwight Gooden was literally on the side of a building. They painted a Dwight Gooden mural on the side of a skyscraper in New York City. And I remember as a kid going into the city to see, my dad at work and stuff, and just going, my God, look at this. And talk about larger than life figures. And it's funny because I think he kind of gets forgotten because, the drug problems he had and obviously the injuries he had, and he never lived up to, I guess, what he could have been. But my goodness, 1.79, 1.53. People kind of forget. And Jacob DeGrom still, with both those guys, he's the only guy under 1, Dan. It's nuts right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, there are no words for when he gave up the 3 runs and he struck out 14 guys, you were kind of disappointed. You were like, I don't know. Yeah, just ridiculous. And I really hope that he stays healthy rest of season and just kind of puts up this dominant Cy Young MVP season. But yeah, and fun fact, in an argument with my cousins like 6 years ago or 7 years ago, whenever DeGrom first broke out, I vehemently argued that we had to trade him because his value was at an all-time high. So there you go. That's you're taking advice from everybody.
That's not the best advice. All right, let's. Speaking of ex-Mets, Zach Wheeler, 9 Ks against the Padres. He continues to be fantastic. His ERA is at 2.05 on the year. Max Scherzer, 8 Ks against the Dodgers. We talked about him when last we left you. That was a good outing there. Alek Manoah, 10 Ks against the Rays. Rays offense, obviously has some issues, let's say. But Alek Manoah, if he can start giving them starts anywhere close to this is huge for the Blue Jays and a potential run in the second half. I'm telling you, this is the team to keep an eye on. They have the goods. They have the right combination of youth and not knowing that they shouldn't be there, and that makes them very dangerous. Lance Lynn, 9 Ks for him, 6 innings. Sonny Gray, a nice outing against the Cubs, only 5 innings, but 8 Ks for him. Drew Smiley showed up, much to Dan's happiness, 5 2/3 innings, 7 Ks against the Marlins. And just running through here, too, we had a couple big outings, probably none bigger than Kenta Maeda's 10 Ks yesterday against the Royals. That's the one to really focus on. Pivetta, good outing, but, he has a good outing and then a terrible outing. It's tough to gauge him. But Maeda's the one, the 10 Ks and the 6 shutout innings against the Royals. lowering his ERA to just 5.03.
Hmm.
Is this the turning point? I know I keep doing this. This is like the 5th turning point. I feel like we're just going in circles, but what do you think about Maeda in this outing here?
Very encouraged. And look, we talked about it from his last outing where he got hit really hard and he walked a ton. And I basically came out and I said, I'm giving him a pass. It was a weird thing where he had, like, against the Royals, you got to throw him out there because if he can't succeed here, then we're really in trouble. But I watched this start. He was really good. He walked a guy in the first inning. That was his only walk that he had. He used the splitter more 34% of the time. He's been using it 27% of the time this season. It's his best pitch, just a 254 expected WOBA. But really, the issue this year has been with his slider. It's gotten hit a lot. What's interesting, Joe, is I looked into it, and it's actually his expected stats with that slider are better than it was last year. His expected batting average, his expected slugging percentage, they're lower than it was with that pitch last year when it was a dominant pitch. So I think he's gotten a little unlucky right now. Now that he feels healthy, I'm throwing out the start before that. This is really encouraging. He's got the Tigers, I believe, this week. So hopefully he comes out and puts up a big one here. But if he does, then I am buying because I'm willing to basically conclude that for the most part, his early season struggles were due to the fact that he was battling through a little bit of an injury. He admitted that his arm was hurting him and he hadn't let it on all that much. And this last start, the one before this one, where he got rocked, I really just think, like, look, we talked about avoiding him in DFS because it was too much rest. I think kind of he's almost back, and I'm willing to buy.
All right, let's talk about some of the bats. George Springer, another big Blue Jay piece, starting to get hot. He had a very good weekend there. 2 homers for him. Avisel Garcia, 3 for 10, 5 ribbies. Ohtani, we mentioned, up to 31. 3 home runs for him over the weekend. 3 for Machado. 2 for Alonso. Dom Smith continues to be hot. We tried to help you get there. Yep. Sorry if you didn't listen. This is why you subscribe to the show. And, of course, the YouTube channel at FantasyPros MLB. 3 homers this weekend for him. He's up to 9 total recently. Trevor Story, 2 home runs this weekend, 11. Look, I want to get to some of the duds, too, here.
Sure.
Because we had Patino giving up 7 runs, 5 earned. Charlie Morton 7 Ks, 4 runs. I don't want to crush him. Aroldis Chapman, Cole, those are the guys. But we've already hit that. But, the Angels pitching too. Griffin Canning struggled again against the Orioles. He was
optioned to the minors. I mean, I think it's more of a procedural move at this point because I think
probably procedural because of what's going on
the
with
All-Star break, especially, yeah.
But I don't know, man. And then, of course, Zach Gallen going back to the IL with a hamstring strain. Michael Brantley and Kyle Tucker both having some issues there physically. Anthony Rendon left Sunday's game with hamstring tightness. I wish Rendon could stay on the field consistently.
I know.
It's very crazy. Buster Posey also had the foul ball. Was it off the thumb? Off the thumb.
Yeah.
So
X-ray's negative at least.
Yeah. So hopefully we won't freak out about that. But Dan, looking at through all this was outside of the Schwarber injury. I feel like we actually, for once, got away without anything too major. So that's kind of a good thing. So Dan's got the reviews for everybody.
Yes.
He's got them ready to rock and roll. But before we do that, we want to thank the sponsor of our show, the one that makes all of this possible. And that, of course, is manscaped.com. Use that code LEADINGOFF, get 20% and free shipping off the Lawnmower 4.0. They got incredible packages out there, too. They got the Manscaped cologne. They got all the stuff, the ball wipes, the ball deodorant, the crop reviver. I'm not even sure what that is, but it sounds amazing. Get in on it right now. It's got the advanced skin-safe technology that lawnmower does. Of course, the new battery length, the 4K LED light, and a whole lot more. Go to manscaped.com. Again, 20% off free shipping. Thanks to our friends there. Use that code LEADINGOFF. Your balls will thank you. And we want to thank you for dropping reviews here. We've got another giveaway going on. What is our new giveaway, by the way, on our contest now?
A signed Shane Bieber jersey.
That's right.
Just look, the reviews. Somebody was joking on Discord whether or not I could do it like you do the injuries in one breath. I could, but it would kill me because the reviews keep coming in.
You're not even at 70%. This is not good.
I mean, I could be at 180%. It wouldn't matter at this point because the reviews just come in, and we could not be more appreciative of them.
That's
honestly,
awesome.
It helps the podcast grow. But yeah, just in June, it's like 55 reviews. So if we're ready, you want the homage? You want it?
Give me the highlights. We got 10 minutes or so. Give me the highlights. Let's go. I'm
going through it. Here we go. Beantown Russ 85. The Trader Joe cold brew is so good that I only bust it out on special occasions. But thank you for listening. T-Bone 26. Joey P and Dinger Dan, love you too. Love that T-bone. That's a Seinfeld thing for you. Danimal7, great review. And I don't know the name of the intro song. I'm really sorry, but it is by Joachim Karud. So look him up, see if you like it, but gets us pumped too. One of Joe's tough guys, that's the name. I'm thankful that you're the lone person rooting for me to beat Joe in the home run contest and way to power through a broken finger in your doubleheader when you were a kid. You were certainly earning your moniker. Sports Invasion, we miss Tuma too, but I hope you enjoyed having him on the show. San Diego Skins fan, you are my favorite fantasy baseball podcast too. I'm just kidding. This one is, but still thank you for listening. RFTW, there is a lot in your review, so all I can say is that if a reference to Dan Fogelberg and our more or less okay fantasy advice is enough for you to give us a 5-star review, then you are awesome. Thank you. PMAC Attack 10, glad you love the obscure movie references, and we can ask Joe to slow down a little bit on the lineup builders, Joe. That's a comment.
I will try.
I know.
Well,
it's all right.
Jet Li,
we got to move, baby. Jet Li 25, thanks for the kind words. We do try to bring the entertainment. Talon KJL, glad we're usually the only podcast that you need. Best lead-off podcast. That's the name of the reviewer. Your name really just says it all. We see you, P-Town's pinnacle of fantasy podcasting. That's our new tagline. And yeah,
there you go.
Thank you for acknowledging that we admit our mistakes, by the way, even though we obviously never make any. Ali Land, witty and insightful. That is what I want on my tombstone. Thank you for listening. AWAG711. I do like that we support our analysis with meaningful stats. Thank you. Primetime 21. We are here for all those that might be unable to watch games and need to dig in daily. Sports Ivan, glad it was an easy decision to support us. We hope we make it worthwhile. RotoChamp81, Dinger Dan, and Joey P like to bring it. We see you, Sean Z. Slayer. We seem like very down-to-earth people. We are. We see from here that, I'm a
diva. I'm a huge diva.
You are. If you want to, what you see from us here is what you see generally, and you can check us out on our other podcast.
This is pretty much our relationship.
This is what it is. But
the only difference is we're recording now. This is pretty much the same that Dan and I converse throughout the day.
Correct. It's just recording. Goose 2152, the best fantasy podcast you have found to date. That means a lot. Nomas 78, we're a great tag team. Thank you. Dill P3. I'd highly recommend you too because you obviously have great taste in podcasts. Bomber 705, our analysis is, quote, almost spot on, but way better than other industry experts. I'll take that. That's a new tagline. King Guy 20, glad the dad jokes aren't all bad because I really don't bring much else to the table. 19G Man 98, did we really turn you into a baseball fan? If we did, that's awesome. I'll be contacting MLB to get our cut of your revenue. Be Gone 360. I have not tried the stock cold brew, but I will now, and you're welcome for the trade chart. Camp Bella Lugosi. I'm really going to need an explanation on that name, by the way. Genuine hosts who perfectly walk the narrow tightrope between humor and information with the skilled ease of seasoned circus performers.
Wow.
I mean, you're my spirit animal.
They did cancel the circus, though.
I love it. JB Stratton 00. I think you're the best fantasy pod out there, too. Ranger Danger 3505. Entertaining and informative. Always our hope. Wyatt Thorpe, glad you're in Discord. Glad you use our tools. Sorry you can't rate us higher than 10 out of 10. Don 111. Joey P is a top-notch host built for this job. You ain't wrong. Apple DL, great banter and fantasy advice. Who could want more? Chris Anak, you can't think of a better way to start your day than hearing Good Morning Jabronis. Thank you for that kind review. But also, what about waking up and having someone serve you pancakes on a plate made of gold? That's a better way to start your day than hearing Good Morning Jabronis. Nevertheless, you're the best. Jay Sleek, one of your top 3 podcasts. That is awesome. I would like to know what your other 2 podcasts are, though, so I could judge your taste. Still glad that you like more DFS. Damato 19, I agree we do complement each other well, and I will continue to scold Joe every time he makes some sort of slightly higher than PG-13 content. That is my job, unfortunately.
We never go above PG-13.
Never. It's like PG-14 maybe. Perhaps 40T. Yeah, if we ever stop
TVMA on occasion.
TVMA.
No, we really don't. I don't think we do. Do you think we do?
I think he was saying
my voice
that when
got very high there, so I feel like I'm being
You
defensive.
do. You know it's bad. Perhaps 40T. If Joe and I ever stop poking fun at each other, then you know that this podcast is going to end. So thank you. Shay Cox 2221, 2 great personalities who work so well together. New tagline 947722. Are you a robot? Good balance of news, witty banter, fantasy, baseball, and DFS. I will take that. Sporty Peds OT, first time fantasy baseball player. Glad we could help you out. Atreyu Rules. I'm not sure if that's a music or a never ending story reference, but either
Definitely
way,
never ending story reference.
It's got to be, right? Quick, fun, and to the point.
Nobody
that
likes
is us.
That band.
Mamanu One, amazing podcast that you 100% recommend. I appreciate it. I wish you could get us to 1,000% recommend, but I will take it. Maverick 499, knowing our stats inside and out, but not in a nerdy way. Not kidding. That's actually my goal as a fantasy analyst, to know the stats, but not like be the total nerd. Grendel 322, almost done, Joe. Don't worry. Grendel 322, dry sense of humor with dead on player performance assessment. I will take that any day. Joe, you apparently have brilliant DFS insights, but you could use to curtail your goofball persona, which I don't understand because I am the goofball persona.
You're like I'm the goofball persona.
I don't know.
Here? I guess
I don't know, but whatever. That's a good review. Low and away, you haven't yet been burned by our guidance. That makes one of you, but thank you. T Jones 9232, day in and day out, we bring the heat. Love it. We see you. Pocono Scion, great flow to the show. I like the comment and the ability to rhyme. Steve Killian, glad you turned your head-to-head season around with our help. CKCTT, knowledgeable and great chemistry. I will take it. BJ729483. I don't know all these robots. You listen to 4 different fantasy baseball podcasts a day.
We know the bots are out
at work, but we are always the most spot on with our advice. Thank you. And Joe is hilarious. Yes. Pop fanatic. 2 flawlessly flamboyant fellows full of flawless facts. That's too long for a tagline, but thank you. Rocky's fan 10. Great for diehard baseball fans. Thank you so much. Craig Beans, great balance of fantasy DFS more, and we keep it timely. That's what we aim for. Jerry Arvnug, humorous, knowledgeable, and absolutely gorgeous hosts. Wow, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Go Angels. Zach's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. First year back playing fantasy baseball, and our crash course got you on track. Go Robbie Ray and Trevor Rogers. And finally, Jose Romero Jr., home run calls baseball and how to stay nice and groomed. Your balls will thank you, as you know. That is it. Sorry, guys. Look, I really like to. It takes a long time to get that already, but
I can't believe you do that. It's amazing.
The reviews go. We appreciate. I want everybody to know, like we read the reviews. Okay, those are everybody who left the review in June. I'll do the same thing in July. We love you guys. We appreciate it. I just want to give a little shout out to everybody who takes the time to leave a review because it means a lot. If you didn't leave a review and you're annoyed by that, I'm really sorry. Thankfully, you didn't have to watch it on YouTube where I'm all gargly or whatever. But anyway, thank you everybody.
No,
for
you're all
listening
clear now. It was just
good now.
Moment. Okay. Yeah. We had the clear sill. We wiped you down.
Can I take like a break while you do the whole like DFS intro?
Here's the problem: is we did all the home run board does not look updated to me.
Yeah,
Mike Mayer's failed us. Okay, because I'm know, Mike Mayer, I don't know if it was a long July 4th for you or whatever, but I do not have 9 anymore. So I'm not even going to read the home run board. We'll recap. I'm going to give Mike Mayer some time to wake up and have some cold brew and figure it out. So let's just jump to the DFS. It's only 9 games tonight, and it is another slate, okay? It's not great. Keep it simple, stupid. This is what you do. Brandon Woodruff, 11.4 on FanDuel. Pay the premium in cash. Best Brandon Woodruff lineup wins tonight. 10.4K for him over on DK. Joe Musgrove, more affordable on both. Also in play, especially with Schwarber out of that lineup. We're still TBA on who's going to start for them. So if you want to save in cash, Musgrove will carry over in cash and as well, I think, over on the GPP side as well. 9.6, 8.7. Max Fried, good matchup against the Pirates. 9.1, 8.5. I still would prefer Musgrove, who's basically the same price. I just think there's more win equity there for him potentially. I know it's the Pirates, but sometimes the Pirates really piss you off. It happens, okay? Dylan Cease, 8.4, 9.6, also in play, but that's a very heated rivalry now all of a sudden between them and Minnesota.
Yeah.
This is one that's just for fun because it is such a stark contrast of Brandon Woodruff and Musgrove and pretty much nothing else. Jose Suarez, who pitched really well in that relief start for Bundy after the the vomit issue. 5.7 for him on FanDuel, which you think, what? That's crazy. Basically lets you do anything you want, okay? And there's some offenses to look at. As a secondary arm, he's 8.2 on DK. So just recognize, DK, of all places, you would think this would be the inverse. DK's at 8.2. FanDuel's at 5.7 as a multi-entry GPP play. I think if you're having some fun, even for $1, you throw it in there, see what happens. Because if he gets a win and you have the right offensive pieces, you're going to crush outlet there today. Stack-wise, you got Texas, San Diego, Atlanta, all with high expected totals. Philadelphia and Chicago should be the game that yields the most between those two teams. That's the game stack. I will try to go slow here. Here you go, boys and girls. The lineup builders today are Dansby Swanson at 2.6 on FanDuel. Will Myers at 2.3 on FanDuel. Andrew Vaughn at 2.4 on FanDuel. Eli White at 2.2. And then you've got on DK, Ryan O'Hearn at 3.2. David Fletcher at 3.1. JT Realmuto at 3.8. And Andrew Vaughn again at 2.8. Not a lot of value out there tonight. It is a very weird slate. It could even be a stay away slate. I'm telling you, like, it's that kind of weird thing. But keep it simple with Brandon Woodruff at the top, with Joe Musgrove. have some fun with Suarez if you're looking to just kind of burn some money and see what happens. And then, of course, home run calls. For me, I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna, and hopefully Mike Mayer will wake up, hear this, and then give me all my Pete Alonso home runs, because the board is not updated. I want my Pete Alonso, darn it. Okay, how about you? Where are you going for your home run call tonight, Dan?
I'm going to go with Nick Castellanos against Mike Minor. He crushes lefties, so that's where I'm going for my call.
That was my debate. So there you go. I hope it.
I always feel good about
we're
that.
We're back on track, baby. And again, want to thank everybody out there. If you want to get in for the Shane Bieber jersey, go to FantasyPros. MLB contest, right? .com/MLB contest. Again, you leave the review, and eventually Dan will read them and make you famous here on the show. It's a very simple thing to do. I want to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, as well. And again, it's like fan appreciation this month. We're just thanking all of you for sticking with us. You've been so consistent. And look, tomorrow we'll be back at our regular time at 9 a.m. However, next week is Joey P goes to camp, like Ernest goes to camp. So we'll be at 9:30 next week. But we got football shows. We got a lot going on here at Fantasy Pros. Dan, final thoughts?
No, well, yes. Mike Mayer apparently
you can't
saying
do no and then yes.
They don't count. Well, I was going to say no, and then I realized Mike Mayer just said he's in the chat right now saying they don't count because it was a doubleheader, not on the main slate. Doesn't count.
No, we said perpetuity through the weekend.
All right, but I think perpetuity means main slates. That's what I think.
There's no main slates on Sunday anyway.
All right.
No. This is going to the commissioner's office.
Right, that's it.
All the good favors gone. All right. We'll be back again tomorrow to do it all again. In the meantime, I'm Joe Pisapia. That's Dinger Dan Harris. We'll see you next time, kids.